Hey guys, this is part 3 of this concrete step replacement. So basically the forming's done, the rebar's in, and what I'm doing here is I'm just going to give you a brief look at the forming work. And you can see there's a slight curve on that front step and the second step as well. So a lot of the wood I used here is all reclaimed. So this is wood that might have been thrown away. I'm always trying to get free wood if I can. Alright, so you can see this thing's been reinforced pretty well. I put 10M rebar and drilled it into the foundation, and I also added some extra bracing on the front of the steps. I mean, you want to make sure you add plenty of reinforcements when you're going to do stuff like this. Alright, so what I'm doing right now is I'm actually just pulling down the concrete off the chute, and the mix that I'm using here is a 32 MPa, and you can see the slump is pretty dry. So basically the slump is how much water has been added to the concrete, and right here we're using about a 4-inch slump for these steps. So a lot of the time when you run into these projects, you don't really realize how a concrete truck's going to fit into that location. So you want to really address the weight of the truck, you know, the access to where you can get it. A lot of the time I try to get the truck as close as I can because it'll speed up your install and it'll be less labor intensive. Alright, so what's happening right now is I asked the ready mix driver to just give it a little bit more water. I want the concrete a little bit more pliable, especially for the steps. So I like to, when I pour concrete, I try not to add water too often. Sometimes I'll use the exact same slump through the entire mix, even though it might be a little bit challenging later. I just feel that that adding too much water isn't going to be the best thing, so I try to keep it as dry as I can. So what I've done in this video series, I'm not even sure how many parts to this are going to be yet, because I filmed the entire project with a tripod stand, so I'd like to show you guys absolutely everything I can for these types of projects. You know, it just shows you what goes into it. So I mean, if you don't mind watching, it's probably going to be about 20 minutes long, and I think I got about 3 more parts that are coming up with the finishing and the stripping stages of this type of project. So right now what I'm doing is I'm putting an expansion foam right across the front of the steps here, and I'm just going to attach that to the foundation. So anywhere where concrete is going to be poured up against existing concrete, an expansion joint like this is going to have to be used. I've seen like a fiber board, I've seen wood used as an expansion joint. I like this foam because it's basically never going to break down, and it'll be there for the life of the concrete. And when this expansion foam or an expansion joint isn't used against a new pour like this, which I've seen dozens of times looking at other projects, I've seen where basically what happens is the concrete will bind up against the existing concrete, so there's no room for movement. And when you have two hard surfaces frictioning back and forth through cold and warm and hot weather over a period of a year, you know, you're going to see a lot of friction. And basically what these things do are they break down the friction and allow the concrete to not crack or chip, because it will, guaranteed, if there isn't any expansion joint between the new pour and foundation or any existing concrete, it will crack, it will chip, and it will split. You may not see it for years, but it'll definitely happen. So right now, me and the ready mix driver are just chatting about some different things, and letting the truck mix the concrete, and then we're going to get started here. Alright, so what I'm doing here is I'm just taking some concrete and pushing it up to the styrofoam. And for small projects like this, I won't even bother using a shovel. The shovel's just going to get in the way, and I can maneuver the concrete a lot quicker into the tighter areas using my gloves on my hands. So one of the most important things when I'm doing these steps here is that basically the ready mix driver has to be able to feed down the concrete at a slow enough pace, because I mean, if they shoot out a wheelbarrow of concrete right now, that could just make a mess of this entire forming job. So I mean, slow and steady is definitely going to win the race on these types of projects. So you can see I just take the concrete and sort of tap it down, and what I'm doing is I'm just settling in the concrete to make sure there's no voids or anything like that. And you can just see I can push this concrete around pretty easily, and leveling it out is great when you're using your hands. You know, it's a little bit more comfortable when you're in these tight spaces. So basically you want to shift the concrete from one side to the other. You want to make sure you have even weight on the forms, and you'll see me moving the concrete around from side to side, and basically what that's going to do is it's just going to put the weight evenly on all the forms, because you don't want to fill up half of the steps and have all of the weight on one side, because it will twist the forming, and this is a lot of weight, and I mean it could shift something out of place. I've even seen where the concrete will lift itself up. It'll lift the forms right up off the ground. Typically, if that's when you're pouring a little bit wetter, it'll do something like that. But I mean, when you're pouring dry like this, it pretty well sits still. Okay, so I'm just going to keep tapping down the concrete, and I'm going to get a Dewalt vibrator to vibrate the concrete in just a minute. So yeah, just little by little, you know, filling in the areas, making sure that there's slope on the steps, and maneuvering the concrete and the chutes, you know, to make sure that that the concrete's going to be nice and full, so that when you vibrate it, the vibration's gonna lower that that surface, you know, sometimes up to 3 inches. Alright guys, so here's the cordless Dewalt vibrator with a 60-volt battery on it. I swear by this little tool. It lasts quite a long time, and it's great for just vibrating up small projects. This thing's got enough power, and definitely highly recommended. They're about $550 Canadian. But yeah, I've had this thing for about 1.5 years, and it's just great for concrete work. Yeah, a couple tips when you're vibrating concrete is that you just don't want to vibrate it too much and too little. And you're also going to want to make sure, because when you're vibrating, you're poking holes in the concrete, so you want to make sure that you don't leave any holes when you pull the vibrator out. So you just got to kind of shake the vibrator as you're moving it around, and definitely it will help you out there. Alright, so you can see just how tight this bottom step is. There's not a lot of room to move, and it's going to make it difficult for finishing. So basically what I'm going to do is just make a pile, and then move the concrete around by hand into these little pockets here. So now you guys can see just how dry that concrete is. You know, this is a 32 MPa, and this stuff is going to set up super quickly. Alright, so there's some hand signals that I'm going to show you guys in the next videos. Basically, how you operate the truck, how you operate the chute. Let me know if that's something you guys want to see, and I'll definitely put together a video for that. But let me know in the comments. Also guys, if you've already reached this far in the video and you haven't left yet, thank you. You know, I'm trying something new with some longer videos, but you know, be sure to definitely give me a subscribe, like, and comment. You know, I want to hear your thoughts, and if this is something that you're interested in seeing, or maybe you want to see something else, let me know. Yeah, so this concrete vibrator will basically help level the concrete. And I mean, when you got a pile of concrete, this thing is just going to drop it right down for you. So check this out. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment, and turn on the post notifications. And if you're interested in being part of this developing network or the Instagram channel, feel free to shoot me an email at yourconcretesource@gmail.com or visit yourconcretesource.com, and I hope to hear from you. Thanks for watching guys, and stay tuned.